All right, so we have one of the first dominoes of the NFL offseason. Deebo Samuel is no longer a 49er. He is now a Washington Commander and now paired up with Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, and more importantly, Cliff Kingsbury. Watching Deebo last season, he did not look like the Deebo of old. He genuinely looked washed at 25. Just him running routes, just didn't have the same burst, was not the same guy. Just a terrible year overall for the 49ers. They lose Ayuk. So many injuries. CMC was out for basically the whole entire season. It just was a terrible season. But I'll be honest with you guys, I honestly don't mind the Commanders buying low on a really high talented player like Deebo Samuel for only a fifth round pick. If he's bad, oh no, a fifth round pick for a guy that instantly now locks into wide receiver two for the Commanders, which was a position of need. I mean, shout out to Terry McLaurin who's holding it down. Shout out to Zach Ertz holding it down last year for the Washington Commanders, but they obviously needed more help. And they got that Deebo Samuel who can obviously both play wide receiver and running back as well. Paired him with a good OC, paired him with the premier quarterback in Jaden Daniels. And he's now opposite to Terry McLaurin. He's not supposed to be the number one guy, even though the last couple of years has really been Brandon Ayuk. He has even less pressure on him. The pressure is going to be on Jaden Daniels running the football, Terry McLaurin in the receiving game, and he can definitely help out that running game, which I'm still not the biggest fan of the running game with the Commanders. Like Brian Robinson, he's a power back. He has his moments. He can be like a good third down back, but I really think they should maybe look to maybe draft a guy that can be that 1-2 punch with B-Rob, aka I think Commanders fans call him a Thanos. That would be tough, but fifth round pick for Deebo Samuel with all the talent in the world, with a premier quarterback, I like it. Now, for the 49ers, obviously they drafted Ricky Pearsall um, last year in the draft. They have Brandon Ayuk. They have third and Juwan Jennings. They have George Kittle. They have a lot of talent still on offense and obviously CMC, who when healthy was the best running back in football in 2020, in the 2023-2024 season. Not so much this last season because he was injured and didn't really look like himself, but they still have Kyle Shanahan, who's an absolute offensive mastermind, and they'll be completely fine. This had to happen. He has 1 year left in his contract. Honestly, I didn't really see a trade coming out, but at least you got something back. I mean, I would have probably preferred like a fourth round pick, fifth round pick is really not insane. Like, it's not the greatest return. I mean, this is a guy that is a year removed from looking great in both the receiving and running game, and he had one bad year. He played in how many games last season? 15 a year before that. So it seems like Deebo is a lot more injury prone. It seems like Deebo is a lot less injury prone of the last 2 years than I thought. He's played probably 30 games in the regular season in the last two games. So he always has like these nagging injuries and things of that nature. And even when he played this season, like he had so many stinkers that it's like I trust Cliff Kingsbury, but man, he had a perfect system last season in San Francisco, and he just wasn't himself. I don't know. I mean, hopefully he can break out. I'm a fan of Deebo Samuel. Hopefully he can go back to being the Deebo Samuel of old. Hopefully he gets back in his bag. Off season, contract year, he's motivated and he can make the best of his new opportunity in Washington. So yeah, shout out to Commanders. Great buy low spot for them and for the 49ers. I mean, you're shedding off some salary. And it's officially Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, resurgence year of Brandon Ayuk season. So, yeah. It's a very interesting trade to say the least, but shout out to the Commanders. Very good buy low spot, in my opinion.